Hi, my name is Michael Becker, and welcome to this installment of the mCordis Mobile and Connected Marketing Insight Series. And with me today is Allison Parr, the SVP of Consumer Durable and Electronic Goods, and Christopher Howley, the Senior Manager of Analytics and CRM, both at Registria. So Allison and Christopher, welcome, and thank you for today being as part of today's session.
Hi, Michael. It's great to see you. Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you.
So let's just jump right in and let me know, where do you fit? What is Registria? What kind of companies do you serve? And how are you help creating opportunities for these companies or solving issues that they have?
Sure, you bet. Registry is a SaaS solution that's purpose-built specifically to connect brands to the people who buy them. Most product companies don't know who buys their product unless you happen to be one of the 5 to 10% that registers a product or call in for customer service and support. And that creates a big gap between the manufacturer and the consumers really put a lot of effort into deciding that they want to buy that product, and there's a real opportunity to connect the brand with the consumer.
Yeah, we're really the connective tissue between the consumer and the manufacturer.
But why does that matter? What's the opportunity? What does it benefit a brand in terms of getting more people to actually register a product and connecting with them? And how does that, and most importantly, benefit the individual in making that connection? And where does that start? And how do you fit in helping make that process happen?
Sure, absolutely. The brands have put so much effort into product development and developing the product that they're going to sell to the end consumer. And there's a lot of information that can help that consumer get the most out of that product, focusing in on the ownership experience and getting the most out of the product and really being delighted by the product experience. From a consumer perspective, the connection with the brand offers the opportunity for enhanced service. Anytime a customer calls in or engages in chat on a web service, the first question that's asked is, who are you and what product do you own? If you can break down that barrier and initiate that connection and make that future connection that much easier, the customer's really getting a great experience.
Yeah, it's really loyalty and lifetime value for all parties, really.
So let's take a step back and let's think about the individual's journey as they're thinking about buying goods and services and where you fit within that. So first and foremost, let me get a sense. So Registria is on, it's a label on the product. It's on the registration label on the product. And presumably somebody could be interacting with that when that label is even in the store before they brought it. They could be interacting with it once they've brought it and it's actually in their house. And then once they've interacted with that can start establishing a connection with the individual to then help the brand, help that onboard that individual into the brand's overall offerings and services, start up a series of storytelling and connections that could ultimately, in a perfect world, lead to loyalty, meaning that person's going to buy from the brand more and more often, and then ultimately potentially lead to advocacy where that person actually has brand love and sharing the experiences they're having with the individual. At what point, and if you can think about that individual journey from totally unaware of the product, I'm becoming aware of it either online or physically in store, to now I've purchased the product that's in my house, to now somehow this relationship is being connected with the brand and I now have the ability to have an engagement with that individual to brand love. Where do you fit within that process, and what tools do you bring there to help brands cross that chasm? I know I'm throwing a lot of questions out there. Let's start with what types of products and where you fit within these journey. Maybe you can map that out for us.
Well, there is one word that kind of describes what we do. We're the grease in the relationship. You talk about having a frictionless onboarding experience to a relationship with a brand. We are really the means to facilitate that instantaneous onboard, that handshake, that hello. We're right there, and it really is as recent as when that product was purchased, within 24, 48, 72 hours.
Okay, so let's start with that question, right? So behind you, I see a poster board and there's a refrigerator there. So I've just got a refrigerator, the Best Buy or the Walmarts or the Targets or the Amazons of the world have gotten it installed into my house. And I see this little picture on the bottom right of my refrigerator.
Right there, yeah.
Walk me through that process. What's happening?
Yeah, so this is an application of Photo Register, which is our award-winning mobile registration solution in a post-purchase use case. So we would have materials that would give the consumer reason to initiate a registration. That would be some value associated with the registration, what the benefits are for registering, and essentially the consumer takes their mobile phone, which we always have with us at all times, and takes a picture of the photo register code and text it to a short code to initiate the registration process. With that activity alone, we've captured the consumer's cell phone number, the model, and the serial number without the customer having to—
Model and serial number, not of the phone, of the product that they've just purchased.
Correct.
Correct, that's absolutely right. With that, we return a link. We say, welcome, or thank you, Michael. Thanks for sending your text in. If you've used the photo register service before, we would recognize you. Confirm the product that you purchased. Thanks for purchasing this Whirlpool 4-door refrigerator. Tap this link to complete the registration. And when the consumer taps the registration, we provide we return a smart form that, again, pre-populates all the product and serial information. It includes location services so that we can pre-populate the city state address. And basically, the consumer just has to tap that registration form and complete the registration.
Well, and as you know, if you've used a mobile device to fill in any of these first, last name, email address type fields before, whether you're on an Apple or an Android, those forms will start pre-populating themselves as well based on your inputs. So it really is very instantaneous.
What I'm really excited about what you're talking about is, at mCordis, we've been really starting to preach this idea of a marketer now needs to recognize that we're all becoming connected, mobile being the central part of that connection, that we're in fact all becoming connected individuals, so therefore we must be connected marketers. And in that, one of the core tenets of becoming a connected marketer is reducing friction from the relationship that an individual has with you and your brands and your services. And in fact, you're making that happen. You're one of those linchpins, one of those core connected marketing enabling companies to reduce that friction at that stage. And again, just so we're really clear, does this only work for high-end products like refrigerators and cars and televisions, or what's the gamut of product categories that this idea of being able to register and establish an engagement with the individual who's just purchased my product work with? And why don't we start with that?
From a refrigerator to a frying pan and everything in between, shotguns to sunglasses. Think about the list of clients we have, and we work with over 100.
Really anything. You're really that onboarding process from physical good to digital experience to be able to enable that establishment. But that really raises a question, as I've thought about your products and we've talked before about what you do. What happens if I'm actually in the store and I start doing this? I've not bought it yet. It's not in my house. What happens at the upper funnel side where I'm actually starting to engage, go over the top of the retailer or the traditional marketing process and started establishing a direct connection through you with this call to action on the refrigerator?
Yeah,
or does the sticker get put on the refrigerator post-purchase? What happens?
We look at that as two distinct activities and two distinct presentations of the photo register code. In the case of pre-purchase, and the photo register icon is on the outside of packaging, it's essentially used to deliver product specifications, information, ratings and reviews associated with that product to the consumer on their mobile phone, which they would have in the shopping environment.
Right, standing in the aisle. Yeah.
We consider that a bricks to clicks strategy. In most retailers, most mass environments, there just aren't enough retail help that have the product knowledge that can really help a customer decide which product to get. So the photo register icon is used on the outside of packaging, basically to deliver that information they need to make a decision.
Okay, this is exciting. So you're not just that one little piece at registration. From what I'm gathering now, you can actually help a brand in upper funnel establish a relationship with an individual, creating that digital interactivity with a physical good or product. You're helping the brand establish that all-important onboarding stage when they actually start using a product, in which in regard the brand could then start storytelling at that point and feeding in content. Now, is that the only piece that you're offering is like this trigger to be able to create that physical digital interaction with the brand, or are there other parts of the Registria offering that a brand could take advantage of? Can you help us understand that a little bit?
Yeah, that's a great question. We really consider product registration as the onboarding or disguised as the entry point for customer engagement. And that's really only the beginning. If a brand has an opportunity to speak to 30, 40% of its customers, or up to 100% in the case of smart connected products, that really changes where you go from there. We have essentially three pillars to the platform. Identification and registration is the first. Second, we have a suite of engagement services, everything from having a personalized portal that contains all the product information and all the service and support associated with that product, to engagement series of emails that help customers really get the most out of the product ownership, giving them information about how to use the product, tips and tricks, offers associated with the products, and the very important ratings and reviews embedded as part of that. It's a very tightly integrated system. So the third pillar is around monetization, and the platform has an e-commerce function to it where we're taking advantage of that immediacy of interaction on the mobile phone and can present point of registration offers like extended service plan in the case of the refrigerator, or consumables like water filters and that sort of thing. When presented offers at the point of registration or throughout this initial engagement series, we pull very high conversions when that's integrated.
All right, so if I'm a marketer, though, are you a walled garden solution? So if I'm using you, I'm stuck with you. And what happens if I already have in my own MarTech stack with an existing CRM system, an email program, my own application? Have you thought about that, and how do you fit in with the marketer's existing strategies and structures and programs?
Yeah, that's a great question. We work with over 100 of the world's leading brands, and every one of those partnerships looks a little bit unique. Some of the clients have very talented digital agencies, and in those cases, we simply expose and train them on how to build the engagement experience on the platform, taking advantage of all of the integrated points that the Registria platform offers. We also have a very experienced marketing services team. So we have a professional services team that can basically act as an extension of the brand's own marketing department. Because we work in these environments across multiple brands, across multiple categories, we really have our finger on what's effective and have all of the analytics built into the different stages to be able to not only help them establish the ownership journey, but continuously improve that.
Well, and actually, you just got to the big money question. I mean, this has been kind of fun because I like this idea of frameworks and technologies and different ways of triggering interaction with stuff. All of the mechanics is, personally, I find really interesting as you tease those apart. But we've not yet got to the really most important question of this entire dialogue. Does it work? Does it generate results for the brand? And most importantly, does it create value for the individual? So do you have any insights or data that actually helps us understand that?
We do, actually. And in fact, we just released a study. It's our 2016 State of the Industry, Consumer Trends in Product Registration. And at the end of the presentation, we'll tell your viewers how to get a copy of that. But yeah, results, how about a 375% increase in product registration, going from a place where people were getting to know maybe 8 to 10%, as Allison said earlier, of the customers who buy their products, anywhere up to 40% using this technology now. And then one of the key metrics that we measure is, similar to how a lot of people look at, shopping carts and abandonment rates. Well, we look at, registration completion as just as important, if not more important, than even a measure like that. And what we're seeing is, just under 60% improvement in registration completion. So in actually getting that process done using this technology, knowing that mobile, in the introduction of mobile technology into the registration process is really driving growth, real growth that we've seen. In our study, it's revealed, for instance, that year-over-year trending of registration in general has been growing, but paper registrations are on a severe decline. Mobile, particularly, digital sources, but particularly mobile, way up. To the tune of 20%. And that was toward the end of last year. And I can tell you just from what we've seen in the first half of 2016, we're going to be more than double that this year. So yes, it's growing. So the bottom line is that these manufacturers are getting to know more of their customers quicker than they ever have before. And what we're doing is helping them leverage the power of the technology they have, the power of this information. We enrich the data so that we can help them enhance segmentation strategies and do other things, whether it's with us or there are other agencies, to really take full advantage of what they're being offered.
So again, it sounds like what you're enabling is the ability for people to, in the brand, to immediately go over the top. They can get away from just the rented audience and actually start building their own audience, to what you've referred to earlier as like a house list. And that house list, that database is, and from our world and our strategies as we think about the market, will become the most important asset that a business actually has. So can you talk about that a little bit and share with us the insights and the value that you see both the brand and the individual get from establishing that direct communication channel?
Well, think about it, right? What you're getting with somebody who registers a product with you, particularly within the first hours of ownership or in the first few weeks, is you're getting a self-selecting individual that's saying, I want a better relationship with you. So, what are you doing with this? You're basically improving the recency pool, if you will, in your RFM paradigm on your house file. So you're getting to know more of your customers quicker than you ever have, and you've got that name and it's immediately available for you to begin that dialogue so that you're driving greater relationship value for both parties.
Well, and let me ask you a couple other questions too. So this is really exciting. So now a brand can now start getting that individual, start engaging them. Presumably they could ask other questions too, like what's your Twitter account? What's your social media accounts? So then I can start building retargeting lists to go find other people like that. And so essentially you're that linchpin. Often in the mCordis world, we call it establishing the connectivity keystone, where if you think about the arch being the strongest architectural structure that we really have, the keystone is what is the magic of the arch. And it's really that enables that bridge between the rented audience, where you're paying all this money in paid media to engage people, with the owned audience. And if you drop the keystone in, you can do the three core C's of marketing, which is connection, communication, and commerce. You're really that linchpin that's enabling that keystone to drop into place for companies, because now they've seen you in media, they've bought you, and now they have the ability to then connect, communicate, and then enable commerce. And Registria is really at the center of really making that happen. Did I understand that right?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. So yeah, we're getting a little short on time. So if people want to figure out how to integrate Registria into their customer experience, where do they start? Where do they go? How do they get access to your insight reports? Can you help us out a little bit with that?
To start, to get access to the trends report, your viewers can text the keyword report to 71403. To get in touch with our team and step through implementation and our 4 easy packages and decide which package makes the most sense for their brand, they can email sales@registria.com, or our website, registria.com, also has a form that they can fill out.
Okay, and actually, I'm gonna grab one more question answer from you before we leave. As some of these marketers get more and more advanced, and they start thinking about wanting to integrate, they're tying in their own app, or they have push notifications, or they're adding NFC-enabled labels to their packaging to create interactive triggers there. Are you willing to work with companies that are starting going down that path? Have you already started working with companies in that path? It's basically that IoT conversation that we're having in the marketplace. Do you fit into that too?
Oh, absolutely. Our team in Silicon Valley has been working with some of the leaders, Nest, which is a Google product, along with a lot of other leading products. As that technology moves into traditional appliances like the refrigerator, we're right in step with the product development teams, recognizing how to capture the information that's published from the product. It's always publishing, here's what I am, here's how I'm working, here's how I'm doing. It's publishing health and monitoring information. Capturing that and enveloping that into the customer experience is a tremendous opportunity. to really personalize the ownership experience. You know, the idea of triggering and sending a truck roll based on a product performance before the consumer even knows that there's a problem, reaching out to schedule that maintenance and that sort of thing, it really opens the door for an incredible ownership experience and an incredible opportunity for the brand.
Wow, this has been terribly exciting. I could talk to you guys for hours, and perhaps maybe that could be the theme of our next conversation, is that idea of this IoT integration and where the whole idea of connected marketing is really going. So we'd love to invite you back in a month or two to see to continue the dialogue.
Fantastic. Thanks, Michael.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And you've been with Christopher Halley and Allison Parr from Registria, and my name is Michael Becker, and you've been participating in the mCordis Mobile and Connected Marketing Insight Series. Thank you very much. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.